and hit the start broadcast button at the same time.
Well,
So
are you recording now?
we are both recording and live.
Awesome. Oh, for fuck's sake,
Hello,
we've
everyone.
started. This is ridiculous. What we've done is we've taken two absolutely inept broadcasters and added a new layer of fuckery to it. So it's just going to be total bollocks. We're trying to record this in Audacity, by the way, for everyone. So
For
yeah,
the
that's what's
podcast.
happening. Yeah, because we're a
So
podcast
hello.
now. Go and follow the podcast. Otherwise, all this effort's going to be worth fuck all, and I will have to come round and individually punish each and every one of you bastards.
Yes, he will come by with Rory Cats, and Rory Cats will turn his butt toward you and walk away.
Exactly. Rory Cats will make you feel hurt and betrayed. So
yeah, he'll give you that look, the eyes.
Exactly. As if you've just killed one of his family when actually all you've done is closed a door.
So, hello everyone. I'm Kristi. Welcome to Kristi and Kev's Happy Hour. And the other part of that happy hour is Kev. So, hey Kev, how you doing?
I'm spectacularly well, thank you. Yes, how are you?
I'm fine, but I was just reflecting on the fact that we have to do this awkward thing. We get into the initial pre-show hangout room, and we're like, "Yeah, how you doing?" And we catch up, and then we have to go on air, and we have to do the same thing, but for everybody else, knowing perfectly well how the other one is already doing.
Exactly, yeah. But don't mention that medical complaint I mentioned earlier. That's fine. Yeah, I'll get a cream for it. It's fine.
And it's gonna clear right up. I told you.
Yeah,
it's fine.
But it itches. It itches.
All right, so we normally start the show with like a pub quiz question or Sargon's famous quotes from history. But I said I was going to do a poll, and then I didn't. And then I tried to actually do on the half hour before the show went live, but now I can't find it on the Facebook page.
When you say do a poll, do you mean fuck a Polish man?
Well, that might be what you were thinking. Because I had the framework of the Facebook. I don't know what you were watching before this, but before we came on air, I was on the Facebook group.
I was looking for American psephologists fucking Polish men on Pornhub. Surprisingly too niche.
It might be, yes, it might be too niche. Anyway, that guy got screwed up because again, we're not a professional podcast. We're two amateurs. One of whom has got a cold, so I will try not to hack down the microphone at you guys.
And the other,
but oh my gosh,
but he's going to be shit anyway. So
yes, we haven't spoken for a while because I was sick and you were tired of doing hangouts, which was fair enough because you did a lot. But oh my gosh, so much has happened just in the last 48 hours, let alone like in the last week. So, yeah, Kevin, one of the things we didn't get around to talking about before we started the show was like what topics we were going to discuss. So I've got a big list.
That's what professionals would do. They'd sort out like a running order of things they were going to talk about. No, bollocks to that. We just sort of rambled.
Something like show notes, something professional.
Yeah, actually set up an actual show rather than just
right.
Let's talk about some stuff and that,
Well, if we're going to just talk about some stuff, okay, so we are going to talk about serious things and not serious things. This show, as we kind of came up with last week, is a mix of highbrow and lowbrow to get monobrow. And so we're going to go low first, I guess, in terms of we're going to go like YouTube drama and Twitter drama. But we are going to get to some serious issues near the end of the show. Trump and stuff. We just get that ranting stuff down out at the end rather than at the start. So one of the things that happened in the last 48 hours, and I know, Kevin, you are personally very excited to talk about this. Alex Jones was banned from Twitter and Periscope.
Was I? I've not heard. Is this a thing? Oh, okay. Well, that's deeply disappointing.
Yeah, you're not overly excited or in any way, enthusiastic about this.
There was not. I promise you, there was not a tsunami of jizz in my pants about this news. Honestly.
So let's get your take on it, and then I'll kind of give you my take because I know we sort of started with different. It's kind of weird because I'm happy about it, and I was the one saying Twitter was going to do it by its own rules on its own terms, and they finally did it. And you really wanted him off Twitter, but now that he's off, you seem to be more upset than I am.
Well, yes, I've not stopped crying since. Now, I am, of course, hugely excited that this piece of garbage is getting his comeuppance. And it wasn't just Alex Jones himself, but the InfoWars account as well. So the two of them went down. which prompted Paul Joseph Watson, who got a 12-hour ban or suspension himself, to remove all links to InfoWars from his bio, including he doesn't even have a link to his own YouTube page on his bio now, which is fun and, of course, cowardly. But even so, yeah, I think it's only fucking right. And finally, these fuckers have been kicked off. But I do have to say, I am enormously annoyed with Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter. Not for the removing of Alex Jones and InfoWars, but for the reasons that it's being done. Because for me, the way in which he's gone about this is the perfect distillation of the conservative mindset. He didn't give two fucks about all of the Sandy Hook stuff and the 9/11 trutherism and his essentially explaining away and excusing away all manner of foul, disgusting, abominable fucking things until Alex Jones personally interfered with him. Because he was testifying before a Senate committee, I believe, in Washington, D.C. A couple of days ago, which I made a brief video about Laura Loomer having tried to insert herself into it.
Gotta talk about that too.
Yeah, and outside of that, both Loomer and Jones harassed Jack Dorsey on the way back to his car. They essentially sort of doorstepped him, or whatever it's called, or car doored him, or whatever.
Car doorstepped him?
Car doorstepped him, absolutely. As we were talking about, the English language is an independent beast. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Yes, so he harassed Jack Dorsey. By comparison to the way in which he harassed the Sandy Hook parents and various other perfectly innocent people, was very, very mild. He was shouting at him about the CIA conspiracy or some bollocks, but by comparison to all the rest of it, very, very tame. And then within 24 hours, Alex Jones is banned from Twitter. Like I say, that is the conservative mindset distilled. It doesn't really matter what the fuck you're up to. You can be as offensive as you like. You can be as abominable, fucking disgusting as you like until it affects me, and then I'll act.
May I guess play devil's advocate is the right phrase.
No, you may fucking not. No, you may not.
And take the exact same facts and give it a completely different interpretation.
Well, I'm going to. Why ask a question when it's not a question? You're just going to fucking do it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I was just
go for it.
Talking more.
Yeah.
Did your headphones disconnect? Because I'm getting an echo again.
No, my headphones are still in.
Interesting. Anyway, so my understanding of where Alex Jones' account was, I don't know about the InfoWars one, but from my recollection, he had been put on like timeouts and suspended and was already like his account had a couple things up against it. Then he went to the hearing and basically filmed him harassing someone and used Periscope and Twitter to disseminate the harassment, thereby violating the Twitter rules, probably for the third strike you're out, which basically lets Jack wash his hands and say, look, we did it by our rules. And it happened to be him, but that was the thing that actually violated the rules that put him off, not that it was Jack personally.
No, well, that's the thing. That's the excuse they've used. But the thing is, you could have found an excuse before. It was revealed that Jack Dorsey had personally interceded and gone against his own staff's wishes by keeping Jones on the site. That was just a couple of weeks ago. And this is now the excuse they've used, that he attacked this journalist and said that they had the eyes of a rat or something, which may be seen as some sort of euphemistic thing for being dishonest or whatever, but ultimately is incredibly dehumanizing and unfair. But that's the excuse that Twitter and Jack have used. But basically, it's because he got in Jack's face. Jack being the only person who was keeping Jones on that side, and Jones personally went after him and attacked him, or verbally attacked him, whatever, harassed him, accosted him in public, and that's the reason that Jack finally pulled the plug on it. The fact that there's this other thing that they've used as the excuse is neither here nor there, as far as I'm concerned. He could have used the fact that he'd harassed the Sandy Hook parents to the point where they can't even go and visit the grave of their dead child. That, to me, seems like a perfectly reasonable way of reason for kicking someone off the site, but he didn't. So
I think he wanted to do Yeah, I'm getting echo again. I think he wanted to use the framework that they set up at Twitter, and it wasn't just like you had to do something bad in the world and you got kicked off Twitter. You had to do something bad on Twitter to get kicked off of Twitter. So, are you still there, Kevin?
I am still there, but I don't know if my Audacity has stopped recording.
Let's see. Is there a green bar that's bopping up and down when you talk?
Oh, fuck's sake, it stopped recording at some point, and I don't know
Okay.
why. At 4 minutes and 28, it just stopped recording.
Hit record again, and
Okay. Well, I've hit record again, so
there
apologies.
we go.
There's going to be a 5-minute gap. Or you
No,
could
there
just take
won't, because I'll download this audio and I'll drop it in. It'll be fine.
exactly, but I'll sound like a robot for 4 minutes. Anyway, apologies.
I'll just do you for 4 minutes. I'll do both parts of the dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, but my voice is so incredibly brilliant. I'm not sure you could live up to my accent, frankly.
That's
I'd like to
true.
see you try.
You would not, because you would just be screaming, going, "No, that's so bad! Stop!"
Oh yeah, Americans trying to do British accents are not always superb. Let's put it that way.
No, they tend to drift a bit.
Uh,
The American attempt at British accent, because
yes.
they hear about 5 of them, so, and then they can't tell the difference between Australian and British accents. So
Oh yeah, I get Americans calling me Australian or Kiwi all the time. Like hate comments and stuff. Very strange. Anyways, anyway, Cobber.
I had the next topic I had, we're gonna keep talking about like man babies in the vein of Alex Jones, was the Nike, or as you'd say, Nike. We're gonna have
Yes.
that fight. We're gonna have to
No,
have that
well, I was
debate.
happy to call it Nike just because
Oh,
Americans
okay.
call it Nike. Like in the same way that when I refer to football or soccer, it's because I know British people will understand what I mean and Americans will get it. Whereas if I say football, you'll think the NFL or something. So yeah, so I'm fine either way.
All right. So, yeah, guys getting. I haven't seen any women do it. I have to say, it's been exclusively men. I've seen burning things. Maybe you've seen more videos or pictures than I have. But yes, people were outraged this week that Colin Kaepernick was the face of a Nike campaign, 30 years or something. I don't know. And you know, as someone on, I think it was actually Jonathan Leggings Man, who had a picture meme from somebody that said, if you don't like people if you don't like people kneeling during the anthem, why don't you go ahead and ignore it like you do racism and police brutality?
Yes, and that's a very good point, which I'm going to follow up with a really, really lowbrow point, which has got nothing to do with the topic. But I've got audacity of watching the blue bars go up and down on the recording, and I did a little burp and blew it away, and that appeared on the screen, and I smiled.
TMI, man. No, it's fine. Just,
And
the things that amuse you. The things that amuse you.
ladies, form an orderly queue.
He had a shower just last week.
Exactly, exactly. I've
Okay.
only got about a dozen Cheeto crumbs on the chest. It's all good.
Yeah. Just a handheld Hoover. Just
Oh yeah, baby.
go over the head, down the shirt, whatever.
That's what she said.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So,
Anyway,
is
yes,
that was
Leggings Man made a sensational point about racism in America.
and you totally derailed it.
I totally derailed it with talk of audio burp recordings, which
Yeah, so
you'll
you
get
don't
to
just do it
hear,
to me.
which you'll get to hear back delightfully, of course, when you. Oh, fuck's sake! It stopped recording. Apologies.
All right.
Anyway, no, we're good. Go on.
Okay. Right. So yes, you don't just interrupt me and throw me off my game. Also, Leggings Man. Yeah. Oh, and we haven't said fuck you to the chat yet.
Hello, fuck you, chat.
That's what you guys get.
Exactly.
All right. Are we done with Nike or Nike?
No, not at all. No, there's loads to explore. Yeah, I mean, I made a video in the week about this. Of all the reasons you could have boycotted Nike products, the fact that Colin Kaepernick has now been employed by them is one of the least good reasons you could possibly have chosen. They are horrific use of child labour and slave labour. Incredibly bad for the environment of local workers and all the rest of it. I mean, just really nasty, horrible shit, tax avoidance, the works. Those are reasons you should boycott Nike because Nike is shit. But the fact that they've employed Colin Kaepernick is not one of those reasons. And of course, there's a sort of positive social side to it in that the fact that the PR department of Nike have decided that that employing Colin Kaepernick is a good thing, I think shows that the tide has turned on that. Hello.
Sorry, I was muting myself because I had to cough. No, I think you're completely right. I was pretty surprised because it was a bold public statement on a not a safe issue. Like, guns and gun massacres in schools is not that a difficult moral choice to make as a business on when people are going to hassle you, who you're going to side with, the NRA or moms. Okay. But this is still Nike, I think, so cynically, they know where their strongest demographics are. And when they probably thought about the trade-off, like they knew they were going to get a hit. You saw like on Wall Street, like all the white people were like, "What?" on Wall Street, like dropped 2% or something, right? But I would imagine that they market tested this and they know their demographic, and that standing with Colin will actually create a level of brand loyalty that will pay off dividends like for another decade or two.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, completely. And of course, it's given them levels of advertising they could only have wished for. I mean, just huge. But I'll say they only wished for. I'm sure they knew it was going to make a big splash, but it really has,
Yeah, and I just like these idiots who are like burning their Nike or destroying their Nike equipment or
Oh,
the
but did you
personal
see?
property.
Did you see the fantastic? I mean, I like public relations departments that get sassy on social media. That's all.
Okay.
That's always a pleasure for me. And Nike did this as well when they put out 5 safety rules for burning our products. And it was literally like, make sure you set your fire outside of a building. Make sure that you're never more than 5 feet from the naked flame. Blah blah blah. When the fire's done, make sure to douse with cold water. It was brilliant. I thought, yes, well done. You well played. Well
That
played.
is good. Yeah, that is good. Yes. And by the way, no one be taken in by articles that say somebody burned their feet with their put their shoes on fire while they were wearing them or burned their garage down. None of that
Yeah.
that I've seen has been true. It all gets
Well,
debunked.
yes, I'm sure that that is the case. But I did see an article in USA Today, which I mean, surely they would have checked, wouldn't they? They were like a proper organisation, for fuck's sake.
The ones that I looked into, they weren't linked to proper ones. The garage one was definitely like some mock-up of a local paper, and I didn't see the foot one as an article. I just saw it being debunked rather than it being, circulated. So, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna have to cough again. So, quick, say something.
Well, something. See, that's all I can
Oh,
do. It's just
yeah,
the bit.
that's all right. That was all I needed.
That's
It's
what she
fine.
said.
Yes.
I'm
You
glad.
wish that's what she said.
Well, exactly.
Not you personally, like a generic you. All right.
No,
Because I
and
think
me,
that
and me.
she said you wish you said. It's almost like a call back to itself. All right. So
What
the
the
next
fuck was?
topic.
I don't know what that point was. You lost me. Totally lost me
It
there.
might be the cold medicines. Don't like listen to like.
And
I
the
hope I'm not
heroin.
recording this.
And the heroin. You've gone straight to the vein. Friday night. Bosh. Get in my bloodstream.
Right next to the NyQuil. All right. Which is basically heroin if you take enough of
But
it,
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
All right. The next one. Oh, yes. Here's more bullshit drama. This is all the fun stuff, and then we'll have the rants at Trump later, as I said. You blocking Sargon for being a twat is you made a video about his twattery. And that was something voted on by the members of the Facebook group, which people, if they enjoy the show, should go and check out because you can vote in these kinds of polls. So yeah, tell us a little bit about
but
drama.
don't post too much in the group because then Kristi can't find the polls. So,
Yeah. Also,
it goes down the
while I'm
page.
thinking about it, before you start, for people who are in the group, one of my longtime viewers, Joanna, is having some really bad financial difficulties. She's put up a fund on the group page. If you have even $5 or $10 that you could give her, then that would really really help her out with basic.
I'm sure you could put a link in the description, and I will do the same when I mirror.
Yes.
Yes,
Happy to.
because Joanna
All right.
is a delight.
Quite.
Yes.
Yeah. So now on back to twattery.
Oh yes. Oh,
That's
sorry.
what
Okay,
she said.
that's what she said. That's what she said. Yes. Yes. Well. Anyway, you've distracted me with your twat now. um,
Finally, flawless victory.
do you have to flaunt it in my face like that, really?
I
Jesus.
only get one like every 3 episodes.
Exactly. That's what she said. Um, I tell you, this is ridiculous now. Right? Yes, I blocked Sargon on his private page. We were technically friends on Facebook, and again, technically because that's what it has to be called. I would have more preferred it to be. Like, you don't have a. Would you like to hate follow this person and have passive
That's true.
aggressive conversations about politics and call them a prick every week?
You
Button.
could have it. I'm just here hate following. Could be a category. Would be
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So to delineate from the actual people on your
Yeah.
page that you like,
Mhm.
um, and that indeed like you. So yeah, so we would. I blocked him ages and ages ago, and then I went on an Andy Warski stream again ages and ages ago, but less ages ago. And I'm not explaining this well so far. And he randomly jumped in and specifically to ask me to unblock him and like get in contact on Facebook. So I thought, oh, okay, but I did it under the proviso, like I said on there. Don't harass my friends because that's why I blocked him the first time. Because not just because he's spreading right wing shit on my page, which I don't particularly like, but that he was being a prick to my friends. And he went. He began then posting about probably 2 months ago on virtually everything I put out on Facebook. Now this is weird because this guy's got like nearly 1 million subscribers. You think he'd have bigger shit to be dealing with or whatever. Um, but for some reason he's slightly obsessed with me. I'm not entirely sure why. But he was posting on everything I was posting on Facebook. Virtually
Can I break
everything.
in to just
Yeah, go on.
say, like, okay, so Sargon makes videos for his channel and the Thinkery, and he's got his UKIP thing, and he's trying to do these talks and going on conferences, and then he's stalking you on Facebook. And okay, I want to say that, like, I don't want to be that person, but I guess I do want to be that person. Doesn't he have kids to be spending time with?
Yeah,
Aren't there
that
children in his household who are in their formative years that are more important than Kevin Logan? I'm
they
sorry,
should.
Kevin.
No, they
But
should be. No, no,
yeah,
absolutely, they
exactly.
should be. Yes, yes. I mean, I personally don't see them as more important because I don't know them, but he does, and is in a
Exactly.
position of legal fucking guardianship.
Yeah, and
They should be much more
genetic
important.
relation to one, I'm pretty sure. He's talked
Yeah.
about having his son, so
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
And he has
Holy
a
cow, man.
stepdaughter as well. Yeah.
Mm.
But that's. I mean, I perfectly understand that point. But even if we sort of ignore that point as such, let's say he only uses the internet a certain number of hours a day because that's his job, right? Even within inside that time, he shouldn't be stalking me. He should be doing these bigger things. You would imagine, right? Like he's got a reach that goes, he can go on the Joe Rogan podcast and the fucking Dave Rubin report and like, reasonably big shows and stuff. So why is he harassing little old me? It doesn't make any sense. And it was a genuine sort of Facebook stalking because it was almost every post, even to the point where I was posting silly little memes and stuff, which weren't even really political, and he'd still comment on those. Like he was definitely following what I was doing, which is weird, but kind of
Yeah.
a sort of almost a compliment in a way because you think, well, okay, he's like a big YouTuber who is interested in me or whatever. So that's sort of pleasant in a sort of way. But even so, and I'd have allowed him to stay on the page if he'd just commented on some stuff and got into even just heated conversation. That I wouldn't have minded. But he started to become rather aggressive and not just mocking, but being quite cruel to a certain number of people and just being unpleasant and harassing toward people on my page. And I won't put up with that kind of shit if it's pointed out to me. And I actually had a thing yesterday to move on slightly from Carl to this other random fucking twat who was harassing some people. And it's not a matter of me tolerating that harassment on my page. It's just that I don't have the time to follow all of those conversations. Okay, because you've got to bear in mind I've got a Twitter page, a Facebook page, my YouTube comment sections, all of that, right? I don't have the time to follow all of it, like every conversation. I just don't. So if you're on my page and someone's like attacking you and being a prick, please point it out to me specifically, like hook me into the thing, so that I can see it, because I don't.
Or like
I
take a
won't
picture
tolerate
of it
that.
and message you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get in
Your
contact with
friend.
me and make me aware of it, because I won't necessarily see it. Yeah, I'll get a notification in my thing that this person has responded to this person, but I won't
Yeah.
even look at it because I just don't have the time. I'm sorry. So if someone's doing some shit like that to you on my pages, please get in contact and specifically flag it up to me, and I will deal with the situation.
Yeah. So trolls are going to troll. So having a good open policy about how to handle it, it will make it faster in the future. So
Yeah.
the more you know.
Indeed.
Right. Okay, so yeah, Sargon being a twat. Yeah, I was gonna mean this is nowhere near, because obviously Francesca Ramsey is just so much higher, like, than any of us. But you
Are you
don't.
higher? Are you suggesting she's taking drugs? Because that's your
No,
domain, isn't
no.
it?
Like, I'm thinking like a star. Like, she is distant. Like Sargon
Oh,
is still in
gotcha.
the, he's still in the
Look,
pigsty.
yeah, she's been on actual TV, on actual shows and shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah. But I mean, like, yeah.
Sargon has not even tried to progress beyond being a prick on the internet.
Right. But I mean, so relative, he's got like a 800,000 plus subs. You've got, you're going on 9,000. Like, the proportion that's just his main channel, whatever.
And this is independently corroborated as well. It's not just this one instance or something. Like Ethan Ralph from the Ralph Report, when he was at dinner with Milo and Sargon. This was about 2 years ago now. He revealed that they were sat at dinner, and for about 3/4 of the time, Sargon just talked about me. When he's at a meal with the Ralph Retort, who's got like a certain online profile and stuff, and Milo, who was something of not a star. He was never a star, but he was relatively famous, and he sat there talking about me in this fancy restaurant in London. What, dickhead! Like it's so bizarre. Like, I don't want to be just pointlessly self-deprecating about it, but why are you bothered with me? What the fuck? Ugh, anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy how he's kind
All
of.
I'm saying
I
is
don't want to.
he wants a slice of the KD. That's all I'm saying.
I was going to, I didn't want to sort of go there, but since you did, then yeah, I think he might have a little bit of a crush on you, Kev.
It would be
I think he might.
it would be like two whales rotting. It would be.
I'm just thinking about the static electricity that would form between your beards.
Well, it would be. I imagine some sort of Velcro situation would occur that would be troublesome. Possibly one of us would have to wear some sort of chin protector to avoid that. But it would be like walrus sumo wrestling. That's what it would be. Two walruses in a circle, powdered up, just going for it. I imagine it would be rather aggressive, but at times tender.
Especially in the afterglow.
You could imagine Sargon just gently nuzzling the back of my neck, and then a greasy reach around.
This is like the worst fanfic ever. You're writing your own fanfic, Kevin.
Well, someone did a really horrible Photoshop into some gay porn with Sargon once, which was disturbing and not a little arousing. No, I'm only joking, but they did do a Photoshop.
Well, how fit were the people that they photoshopped your faces onto? Because maybe you were just reacting to the aesthetic rather than the,
Oh,
idea.
no. This was the grotesque. This was not a flattering comparison that was being drawn here. Yeah. I don't think this was someone who liked both of us particularly.
Don't make me start crying again. I just love the very dry description of what is obviously a really horrific image. Okay, so, all right, are we done then? Are we left with that? Have we blinded everyone's third eye, their mental eye?
Jesus, are we done then?
With that topic.
Oh yeah, fair enough. It just sounded like all of my ex-girlfriends.
No, I'm not quitting this show. Like, that's it. I am out of here. I've crossed the line.
Can you just roll off me so I can go to fucking sleep? I got work in the morning.
I just want someone to like do an anime of your audio describing that with their pictures on the top.
Well, actually, the first ever Photoshop I ever did, this was years ago, was of Fred Phelps, the now late Fred Phelps, thankfully.
Happily.
Yeah, to the Joys of Anal Sex book cover with the man with another man embraced naked, and I photoshopped his face into the little spoon. Is all I'll say,
Oh,
and sent that to
cuddly
him.
space.
We didn't get a reply, which is annoying because I wanted critical feedback, but he didn't reply. So
I think you stunned him into silence.
or he was too busy jerking it. So whatever.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe just moved on, like used it and moved on. Okay, so I think that's a nice transition, and not at all, to discussing
Yes,
this.
I think the now late Fred
Whatever.
Phelps masturbating is a good segue into our next topic. What the fuck kind of show is this? Imagine a 70-year-old bigoted homophobe masturbating to gay porn. Anyway, onto the quartering or something. I don't know. Whoever's next.
Actually, it is. Yeah, the quarter.
That. I mean, because the idea of that 70-year-old naked homophobe masturbating is as grotesque as the entirety of the quartering. Yeah.
No. Wow. Yeah. I just totally lost it there, but I'm pulling it together.
Yeah. Well, that's I
Kevin broke Kristi. Well, actually, I
well,
think I broke
well,
myself there by trying to segue from Fred Phelps masturbating.
Yeah, it's a Friday night, and Kev went for it. That's all I'll say. Yes. So anyway, the quartering. What's going on with that? From one skinny bigot to a not so skinny young bigot. What's he?
Right. Exactly. Oh, perfect. That was a great segue.
Thank you.
Now you're actually like dipped slightly out of amateur level there, I think, by sticking the landing.
Well, thank you. Yes. I mean, yeah. Anyway, what's going on with this fucking?
I saw a tweet he posted
this
yesterday.
dickhead who wants to wank over fucking 13-year-old cartoons. Jesus.
Yeah, he posted. When I found it, it was 17 hours old because Michael Rollins was reacting to it on Twitter. But apparently, the quartering posted on Twitter that in 24 hours from him posting that tweet, he was going to close down his Facebook and Twitter account and move over to Minds and Gab.
Oh, now I'm going to have to get fresh boxers. Oh, Jesus.
Like,
Yeah,
bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You won't try to get all your followers back in 2 months' time. Oh, no, that won't happen.
Yeah. Please don't let the door hit you on the way out, you fucking cock.
Quite.
This just gets better and better. Jones has gone, InfoWars has gone. The quartering is self-immolating for no fucking reason. Brilliant. Good. Kristi. Hello.
Is being slow. I muted myself to cough and
Oh, okay.
sorry guys. I just figured nobody wants to hear that. But just occasionally I'm in the middle of a cough when you call on me. So many high highs and so many low lows this week. I wanted to make this comparison because it strikes me so often, and it's only becoming more intense as the administration, the Trump occupies the illegal occupation, the UNCOCO in the White House. All right, Kevin, you're going to get this. Have you ever sat down and watched an EastEnders omnibus?
No. No, because I'm not white trash. I think I just offended like half of Britain. Brilliant.
I think so. All right, for those of you,
I probably did when I was a kid or something. Yeah.
All right, but do you know how much drama you get in an omnibus?
Oh yeah,
EastEnders.
EastEnders is the kind of place that if it was real, occupational health would have had to have closed it by now because of the amount of deaths and fights and disease and car crashes and shit.
Be a permanent police president. There'd be a permanent police presence on Albert Square.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like everyone would have ankle bracelets.
And let's just you get some people who die and then come back from the dead because they never really died. Whoa.
Well, anyway, so this show, it's on 4 nights a week. It's a staple. It's been running for like decades now in the UK.
It's shit. It's so shit. Oh my god.
It's great cheesy soap opera drama. And this is like one of the great things about it is that everybody looks normal. It's not all Hollywood really thin, beautiful people with long hair who makeup artists. It's just regular people on that show.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
It's yeah. If you go to the casting agency and they say, "No, you don't look good enough," you'll probably get a role on this one.
Kevin could be on EastEnders.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
No, what? That's a huge compliment.
These ugly bastards do EastEnders. Oh, Kev could do that.
I didn't say only. I said real looking, normal looking, ordinary people, not sort of like, cardboard Barbie cutouts.
Disgusting messes can do EastEnders. Oh, Kev, you should try out.
Not everybody on EastEnders is unattractive. It's a range.
Most of them are. Most of them are. Come on.
Well, again, like life.
Anyways, yes, having called me a fat, disgusting, please continue.
Right. So, and the other thing, because it's been going on for 20 years, like the drama is so deep.
Way more than that. It's
30 or something.
Yeah, this would go back to the 1980s, yeah.
Yeah. And so you've got people who had their original plots and then they go away and new people come in and then the old people come back and get involved with the new people and then time goes by and those people leave and then they come back and new people come in. And so there's so many layers of drama and storylines that are all interwoven. And that's what it feels like the Trump administration is between the Russian investigation, the Paul Manafort trial, and the Kavanaugh hearings.
Oh, wow. That was such a tortured way to get to that point. Fucking hell.
No, because I got to educate people on the brilliance of EastEnders.
EastEnders is shit, and you should be ashamed for liking it.
Watch EastEnders.
No,
I love
Kristi, I'm going to have to shame you publicly now for liking EastEnders.
For years, I'd like 10 minutes before, put on the kettle, boil the water, get out the metal teapot, put the hot water in the teapot, and get it warmed up first, then put in the tea bags, then put back the hot water, and then you have it ready for when the music starts. Da, 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 da,
okay, but I'd rather pour that boiling water over my testicles than watch EastEnders.
Well, if we're ever in a situation where it comes on, I'll be sure to pour my hot boiling tea into your testicles. Go, Kevin, look away.
Fair enough. I'm down for that.
Okay. All right. There's so many. I'm not going to. All right. I'll tell you after the show the joke I was going to make there, but I'm not going to make it. Right. So from the quartering, I guess that's it. Quartering is going to apparently.
No, we did. Jesus Christ. No, we moved on from the quartering.
Oh, right.
You had a really tortured fucking segue into Donald Trump being a treasonous piece of garbage who needs to be in jail. Like,
that is true. Well, no, that's true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, so yeah, it's just exhausting because it feels like every day is an omnibus EastEnders when I turn on the news. I literally cannot keep up with how much news there is anymore. Like the channels can't cover all the things I see happening on Twitter that need to be covered in the media.
Well, the amount of illegal shit he does all the time, like something that flew completely under the radar but is entirely illegal, was him using the Oval Office and the Office of the Presidency to promote Janet Pirro's book in the Oval Office. That's illegal. I'm just going to say straightforwardly, that is so illegal. No one cares. It didn't make a single fucking headline as far as I could say.
You get drowned out. It's just it gets drowned out by all the other the rest of our constitutional democracy crashing down around us.
Well, I mean, are we going to? Is this now our bit where we're doing?
Well, no, we've got one more thing. They're kind of connected. We're not doing the op-ed yet. We've got a double. We could do a two for the dumpster that is MythCon, and then the update on the Michael Rowlands people, the llama suit.
Whoa! Time out. So you've segued into Donald Trump, and then we're going to leave it hanging, and then do fucking llama suit.
We just put in the tip.
We just put in the tip. What happened to you? I can't help but feel that I've been a really terrible influence on you. And that you need to get much more high quality friends because that's what you deserve.
No, this is very comfortable. All right. So let's just wrap up the whole MythCon. They had 2 speakers drop out.
They did. Peter Boghossian and some other cracker. I don't know.
Oh, Lindsay. James Lindsay?
Yeah, something like that. Robert Lindsay. Yeah. That would be terrible if Robert Lindsay spoke there. I would be deeply annoyed with him. Anyway.
Right. Yeah. So that was just it's happening on the 22nd of September. Sorry, I'm not really thinking about what I want to say before I start a sentence.
Well, yeah, but they've replaced them with roaming millennial, I believe, is going to speak on that panel, which means they finally got a non-white person to go to that panel on intersectionality. Jesus.
by having two white guys drop out. I guess they didn't take Sargon's advice about making space, and he would have been appalled by them. Actually, it is kind of curious. Like, I don't know if Bogosian just decided, you know what, I am so above this.
I
Not
do
much.
hope he did, because even though he's a prick, he is above that. Even though he's a garbage person, he's actually still better than Mythcon, and I think
I
he
mean,
would do well to avoid that kind of dumpster fire. Yeah.
look at it from his perspective too. He's going to go to this conference. It's a full day thing, right? And that must be a crazy day. I didn't realize that they basically start at what 9 or 10 in the morning, and then they have panels after dinner and stuff going all the way till 9 o'clock at night. I mean, people lose their ability to listen to stuff after about 20 minutes, in a classroom setting.
And
But a
it's all
full-on
going to be
day.
internet shitlords because they're there to see Sargon, and they can't do more than a 5-minute stint. So I don't know how they're going to survive a
That's
day.
what she said.
Just put the tip
No,
in.
but I think he did probably think, I'm going to be hanging around with a bunch of people from YouTube, and it's just like, I'm so not going to enjoy myself that day, and is it worth me going all the way out there to not enjoy myself? But
Well,
I
not
mean,
just
I'm speculating. I don't know, but that
good for
makes sense
his.
to me.
Yeah, it's not just that he's not going to enjoy it. It's not going to be good for his brand because he markets himself as something of an intellectual, and
Mm.
so appearing in that sphere it doesn't back up that claim, and so people will take him less seriously. There's no doubt.
Mm.
There's no doubt that the stink of that shit
Oh yeah.
pit will stick with people, which is not so bad for people who just exist on the internet. Like Sargon and Vadim and whoever, right? That's fine because
Yeah.
they're not trying to do like formal debates or anything. Whereas Peter Boghossian sees himself as something of an intellectual, and it's not like I say, not good for his brand.
No, I mean, I think that the dumpster fire around MythCon, the attention brought to it, especially, by people like myself and Steve and
The
Dan,
fucking outrage brigade, cultural
yeah,
Marxist Jews.
it has had an effect on their brand and who they can attract to speak. And that was kind of the point, is to expose what they're about. And now we see, so I didn't have to do anything this year because I did everything I needed to last year in terms of, bringing attention to it. So
Yeah, exactly. But and was it you or Steve Shives that rang up and they tried to bring it into? They tried to make it out like you rang in some sort of terrorist threat or something. Like they tried to
no, I
make
don't.
out like it was a huge thing. It's ridiculous.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's someone of us, but no, neither Steve nor Dan or I called.
Didn't
That's my
someone ring up
understanding.
the?
Somebody
Didn't
might have been, but it might have just. This is the other thing too. You actually listen to what the MythCon guys say. They say a lot of things about what other people said and what happened. And
Oh, sorry.
honestly, unless there are receipts, I don't know that anybody actually called the theater. They got
Right.
emails.
Well, I've misremembered then. Apologies. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
they
maybe. Yeah.
also
Maybe.
tended to really exaggerate and play the victim card. Mm.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, okay. And the llama costume, I want to say I was actually, it was like $100 start to finish. And Kevin put the kibosh because he had a pretty good point. Do you remember what you said?
No, I totally don't.
You said there were far more worthy charities that could use $100 than Michael Rowland's wasting it on a llama suit.
Which is true. Which is still true, and I'm really annoyed I didn't remember that because that is a good point, and I don't make those very often. So
It's a good thing I'm here to remember things for you, Kevin.
thank you. Yes, my early onset dementia is a bit of a bastard. Yeah.
So that is a status. Although, if you want to Photoshop Michael's face onto the llama costume and use that as his MythCon picture, and when you tag him in at MythCon that day, so that the
Or
timeline
he
feed
could
is.
pay for it out of his own fucking money. The greedy bastard.
Well,
Jesus.
it wasn't even his idea to start with. It was our idea.
I don't
Because
care.
I actually,
I now want people to harass Michael Rowlands on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all the rest of it in order to pay for his own fucking llama costume because I want to see a llama costume. I just don't want to waste time and energy raising money for a fucking llama costume.
so that's the official end of the llama costume joke, I guess. So who knows? Maybe he'll get a white T-shirt and just write llama on it.
RIP llama costume joke 2017 to 2018.
Yeah, yes. If you want to send him one, I'm sure if you DM him, give him if you send it to the Pabst Theater,
What I will do
to his attention, he will get it.
hang on. What I will do, right? I would be more than happy to start a GoFundMe in order to send an actual llama with Michael to MythCon. That would be
Oh,
fucking amazing. It would still be
how,
a total waste of money, but would be fucking brilliant.
2 questions. One, is an alpaca a llama? And if it's not, is it close enough to a llama that we could have it as a backup?
Yes. Yes to all of that.
Okay, llama slash alpaca.
Yeah,
Whatever
exactly.
is, we don't want to lock ourselves in if we can bargain shop.
What do they call pachyderms?
That's an elephant.
Oh bollocks. One of them then. The humpy ones. Any humpy animal. A fucking camel will do. That's fine.
Sargon. It was a humpback whale reference.
Oh
Anyways,
right, okay, yes. Oh, you were going back
sorry.
to our sweet tender lovemaking session, which will definitely happen.
Oh, she brought it up again. No. Okay. So that, I think, was the end of that random end of our conversation.
Yes. Right, yes. So we've done with llama costume, check.
Yes. Check.
Camelids, bollocks. Yes, sorry. Anyway, yes. What else did we
What?
have?
Was that even English? Camelids?
Camelids. That's what they're called. The
Oh,
family of
right.
animals, including lambs and alpacas.
Like,
Yes.
what language is that? All right.
It's usually
You just said
some
it
sort of
randomly.
Latin thing, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to do like a little more setup for that in the future, as opposed to just shouting it out. Just for
No,
my
no, 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 no. I shout out random shit, and if people don't get it, that's their fault.
Okay, so my computer is being a problem again. I see our next topic. Then yes, we can start our proper rants if you want. I mean, we don't have to talk about. Oh, do you want to start before we start with Trump, because that's all thematically connected? You wanted to give an update on the upskirting bill.
Yes, yeah, because I said I'd keep people up to date with what's going on with that. People will remember we talked about this ages ago. A guy called Sir Christopher Chope, who, if anything, shows the ridiculousness of the British honour system. The fact this guy is a Sir, a Lord of the Realm, is fucking just shows what a nonsense it is. Anyway, Sir Christopher Chope and favourite MRA piece of garbage MP, Philip Davis, blocked the initial upskirting bill, that being the act of taking a photo surreptitiously up the skirt of a woman, a huge invasion of privacy and essentially a sexual assault, as far as I'm concerned. And that was a private member's bill initially, which meant it had to get through various stages of uh, uh, compromise and all the rest of it, right? It's much more difficult to get a bill like that through. And so by blocking that bill, it caused a huge outcry because there's no one there's no fucking defense for upskirting. It's such an obvious betrayal of a person's, bodily autonomy and all the rest of it. So it caused a huge outcry, and the government was so embarrassed that two Conservative MPs had blocked that bill that they decided to add a government amendment to a government bill called the Voyeurism Act, which is passing through Parliament now, which mentioned upskirting and was much stronger in its mention than the initial private members bill. So it was a spectacular own goal by these fucking idiot misogynists.
Woo! Yay!
Because,
Glad to hear it was stronger.
well, not just it's stronger, because it gets even better, right? That bill, yeah, the government amendment passes, and because it's a government bill, which is supported across the Parliament, so it has support from Labour and the Lib Dems, because essentially it's like an anti-rape, anti-sexual assault bill. So obviously, no one wants to vote against that, right? So it'll get through in absolutely huge numbers. It basically won't be contested. It'll be refined in the usual way that legislation is and should be, because you want to knock off the sort of rough edges, because this has to be applied in courtrooms and things.
Right.
But then another amendment was added this week because it was at its second reading. So there are three readings, right? So it gets to a second reading, it gets refined, it goes to a third reading, and then if it gets passed, it becomes law. Or goes to the Queen and she gives it royal assent and it becomes law. Anyway, so at the second reading, a Labour MP called Stella Kristi, who was previously the head of the Crown Prosecution Service, so her voice on these matters, on matters of prosecution, all the rest of it, carries a lot of weight, as you would imagine. She added another amendment, and this is fantastic, and it completely shows what a counterproductive blow up in the face for these misogynists this entire escapade has been. Because if they'd gone with it initially, the people whose private amendment bill they blocked, which they've now dropped because there's no point anymore. It's no part of this government bill. They'd have been able to refine it and water it down to the point where they would have gotten their misogynist dreams to an extent. Basically, it would have been watered down to the point of being virtually useless in order to get it through. Stella Creasy added an amendment to this, which will mean that previous either acts or deeds or word of misogyny can be used as an aggravating factor. So basically, it means if you've acted in a misogynist way, if you posted on social media misogyny, which all MRAs have, and if you're engaged in upskirting, you almost certainly have, because you basically fucking hate women, it seems. That can be used as an aggravating factor, which will be used against you in court and will strengthen the sentence that's given to you for committing this crime.
Now, is that misogyny displayed at the time the crime was committed, or
No.
they troll through your social media?
Yeah, this goes back not in perpetuity, but to the beginning of your life. If you've posted stuff at some point in the past which has been misogynistic, that can be used against you, like I say, as an aggravating factor. So it shows that you've got a history of misogyny, and that will be used against you to. No, I mean, it won't be used against you in the sense that it'll be used as evidence of you having committed the act. It's basically once it's been shown that you committed the act, the reasons why you did it, the aggravating factors, are taken into account. And if there are mitigating factors, they'll be taken into account too, obviously. But the aggravating factors, if you've behaved in misogynist ways, that will be used to strengthen the case for a longer prison sentence against you. So
Right.
this bill.
Yeah.
So
In the US, I guess, sorry, just to like put it into a CSI or law and order context, this would be establishing a pattern of behavior. So in and of itself, it's not evidence of a crime, but it shows a pattern of behavior consistent with this crime. And so I am more comfortable with I am more comfortable with it being considered as context than how you initially described it. So I'm glad we talked it out.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, I probably didn't describe it enormously well. This won't be used as evidence of you committing the crime. That's a completely separate part of it. Once it's been established that you committed the crime and that you're guilty, those factors will be taken into account in order to strengthen the case for a prison sentence, where they might give you instead of giving you 6 months, they might give you a year because you've shown to be aggressive and violent towards women online, and so you pose a much larger threat to the public, and so you should be put in prison for a lot longer. Which is which would never ever have been even remotely possible under the initial private members bill. But because they decided to knock that down because they're misogynist scum, it's blown up in their faces enormously, and I'm so here for it. It's brilliant.
I love this song.
Yes, indeed. And I will keep you updated.
This is actually can I ask again? I'm not expecting you to be an expert in law, but my initial impression, again, from how you described it, was that it was a pre-verdict piece of evidence that a jury could hear. But you're saying it's actually after the conviction for the judge to consider. Yes. A jury would never hear this. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, yes. This wouldn't be used as evidence in the actual case. This will be used at pre-sentence hearings and then the sentencing itself. Well, the pre-sentence hearing, where they'll give in mitigating circumstances by the defence and aggravating circumstances by the prosecution, and those will be taken into account before the judge decides on what punishment is to be laid. Yeah.
All right.
But so this would not have been remotely plausible in any circumstances under the initial one. And so by blocking that bill, they caused such a backlash that the government was so fucking embarrassed that they've now put in this beefed up amendment to their bill, and another amendment has been made to that bill by a Labour MP, which it just goes so far and beyond what they would have been able to achieve otherwise. So thank you, MRAs, for once again being your own worst enemies.
Quite. Did you, speaking of them being their own worst enemies, did you see, because you've got Netflix, did you see Karen Strawn on the new, I think it's BuzzFeed is trying to do sort of similar to Vox and creating like 10-minute or 15-minute educational or topic, themed videos?
I have not seen it. But can you send me a link? I'm not sure. I will look it up. If you give me the title of the thing, I will look it up because that sounds quite interesting.
I can go to Netflix and actually just send you a link to Netflix, and you can go directly there and watch it on your device.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But someone from BuzzFeed was it was a woman who was dealing with misogyny, and people were saying, "Oh, you're so worried about women's rights, but what about what happens to men?" And so the segment is her looking into MRAs and then also some of their issues, and looking at the facts versus what they say. And she interviews Karen Strawn, and Karen
Right.
Strawn does the MRA movement no favors in how she responds and the kinds of answers she gives, and that's just typical Karen Strawn stuff.
Yeah.
But when you set it then against the end of the video, I mean, it's not like it's a drama, so I'm not spoiling it, but spoiler alert, one of the last things that they talk about is one of the few shelters that has been set up for men is in Texas. It's called the Family Place, I believe. It was set up by a woman who's a feminist, and she's run other domestic abuse shelters and worked in that social services industry. And the journalist asked, how much support have you received from men's rights activists? And she said none.
Yeah, which is not surprising. And of
They have
course,
money
Paul.
for a
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. I will give them the mitigating factor of them being in Canada and this is in Texas. But Paul Elam lives in Texas. He could have helped there.
Yeah.
Hasn't. But yeah, they did. Yeah, they could have. Yes, the honey badgers, Karen Strawn included, of course, but what they call the honey badger cave, which is I believe, 2-bedroomed single layer house, like a kind of bungalow thing, in Toronto, Canada, with money from their backers, their fans online. And they didn't turn it into something useful like a refuge for male domestic violence victims or homeless men or something. No, they turned it into essentially offices for their operations instead of, which is basically just online shit anyway, which they could and should be doing from just their home.
Mm.
They've wasted so much money on top
Mm-hmm.
of, as we discussed last time, tens of thousands pissed up the wall on a vanity suing of the Mary Sue and
Yeah.
the Toronto Comic Con
Mm-hmm.
or Toronto Comics Expo or whatever it's called. Yeah, they've pissed up so much money up the wall that could have been helped to help men, and they don't. They just don't. It's such a fucking waste of money. So there you go.
I think I have the numbers right. The journalist asked the woman who set up and founded the place, because they house men and women, but it's a place where men can go, and there were men living there. She interviewed one of them with his face blurred out, and when she asked, they came to the topic. She said, I turned away last year 20 men because I didn't have room, and the journalist like, wow, I didn't realize it would be that high a number. 20 men turned away. Just yeah, and I turned away 1,100 women. So
Yeah.
yes, male. I don't want to say men being abused isn't a problem. It is a problem, but we have to stop thinking about it just in terms of like men versus women as if it's 50-50. And I'm not saying men should only get a proportion based on their victim rate. What I'm saying is that we have to deal with the whole part of
Yes.
the whole abuse issue, and also the fact that it overwhelmingly affects women. That is part of it, but we can't ignore the men when we're dealing with the problem, which is predominantly women who are victims, and we have to deal with providing resources so that everybody is taken care of, not that men's shelters take money away from women's shelters. That's
Yes.
not the fight we should have.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
But that's
And
the fight they want to have. That's the fight they want to have.
oh yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, they are. I mean, they are.
They don't say, let's
Hatred.
get more funding for all domestic abuse victims. They say women get more money than men.
Well, that's the thing, it's because they're entirely centered around hatred for women. That they're not actually there to help men. They're just there to try and knock women down. That's it. That's all they do. It's disgusting. But someone raised the thing, a sort of funny thing. Someone said, "Are you still there? Sorry, Kristi."
Yeah,
Have
yeah,
I?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. When you go silent, I think, "Oh shit, have I cut
Sorry,
out?"
no, it's okay. Yep, you're not alone. You're not. I'm still here.
Yeah. Well, hold my hand. I
You're
don't want
not
to be
flying
left in the
without
dark.
a net.
Yeah, someone said in the chat, if it doesn't have Karen Strawn being played by a Dalek toy, it's not worth it. Which is a callback to a series I did. Called was it the Sarkeesian Effect, the Kurt Logan remix, where I redid that awful quote unquote documentary about Ernest Sarkeesian, which was done by Jordan Owen and what's his name, Dave Sorino. Fucking
I want
fart.
you to know that part of that show has remained so deeply in the minds of some of its viewers that when you brought it up in one of our last hangouts, our happy hours, when I was reading back the chat, someone actually wrote out you doing the theme song in M's and E's and
Nah,
P's.
nah, 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 nah. Yeah, brilliant. I enjoyed that enormously. But just to clarify, it wasn't a Dalek toy. Joey Jojo, you so and so. It was a little R2D2 that played. It was a little tin R2D2 that someone gave me from ages ago that played the role of Karen Strachan in that film. And I only just realised because I was cleaning out that room, which is like the room I used to do my very first video, Centered Manosphere videos in.
When you were
My
so
computer
horribly
room.
backlit.
Yes, that's precisely the one. My spare bedroom. Yes. And I was cleaning out boxes of shit, and I found that, and I was like, "Oh, it's Karen Strachan." It's a little R2D2.
That was your reaction.
Yeah, it brought back memories of making that video series, which was an enormous amount of fun, and yeah, and the number of smashed eggs, which in reference, unless you watch the series, you won't get. But yeah, a number of eggs.
Did Rory Katz get outdoors after you do the filming and lick the eggs off the side
No,
of the
but you do
pavement?
see one of the, unfortunately, the now late Socks, who was a cat my next door neighbour had, and has subsequently been replaced by several other cats. They've got cats. Yeah, in one of the shots, Socks won't move out the fucking way, so I had to aim the egg out of the window in order to try and avoid hitting the cat as well. So there's a little peek behind the curtain, I suppose. Anyway, fucking hell, this is mental. I can't believe people are listening to this. Go and
Well,
it's Friday. Go and get merry and fuck Jesus.
yeah, I've got 55 viewers right now.
Go
So,
out and have fun. Jesus.
by the way, welcome to the after bar, everyone.
Yes, we are now 2 minutes beyond time. So if the police come round,
Yeah, that's keep the
don't
music
make any
down, right?
noise. Yeah, exactly. Just they'll turn a
Don't,
blind eye as long as you're behaving yourself. It's fine.
yeah, don't stand at the front gate drinking beers. Just having a loud conversation. Just, yeah. Right. So Trump, on the Trump issue. There's the motorway. Got to get
Hello,
that in.
clone, you loud bastards.
All right. Okay. So the anonymous op-ed. I guess we can start there. The New York Times published an opinion piece written anonymously by someone they said was a senior administration official, which basically describes, when you read it, here's my take. So this isn't the media take, this is me. This is a Republican tool inside the Trump White House who is willing to sell his or her or their souls for tax breaks for the rich, more military spending to spend on the military industrial complex, and to ride the Obama economic wave.
Yeah.
But so, they're pawn scum,
Yes.
but they're pawn scum who are, in my opinion, actively interfering with Trump's agenda. And so this person is basically describing how there are people in the administration who are doing things to cog up the wheels, to slow things down, to try to mitigate all of the bad policies that they feel the president is enacting. And this wasn't mentioned at all in the Anon op-ed, but there was a report in Bob Woodward's book, which it describes basically the same thing, the kind of chaos in managing a two-track presidency. I mean, it's a phrase we've actually been using, so nothing in this op-ed is that new. But Bob Woodward describes, actually has a picture of a letter that I can't remember the guy's name. It's like 4 letters, but somebody inside the White House, they had a draft letter to North Korea or one of the Koreas. I'm sorry, but I think it was South Korea about
South Korea.
Yeah, about their trade agreement. And the guy swiped it off the president's desk so he couldn't sign it. And he just kind of hoped he'd forget about it, or they could do a new draft that he'd sign that wouldn't be disastrous.
Yeah, which he did. He totally forgot about it. So he really cared about it so much that he totally forgot about it.
And so that, to me, that is an act of resistance. That to me is what I think is happening inside the White House. Now, again, that's not in the opinion piece, but I'm putting these two pieces of information together to draw a conclusion or talk shit, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think that that's kind of the stuff that's happening, not just with one person or 2 or 3 people at high levels. I think it's a day-to-day thing all over the administration. And when it doesn't happen, you get things like the child migrant. But no, what you get is the Trump administration kidnapping children as their parents bring them over the border, possibly to apply for asylum, and then decide they can't find their parents and decide to create a new rule saying, oh, we can just keep these kids forever, which is what they also did this week.
Yeah, Gary Cohn is the person you're thinking.
Yes, that was it. It's 5 letters, Kohon
No,
or Ian. Huh?
no, Cohn. So it was 4. You were correct.
Oh, okay. And I couldn't spell it the first. So yeah, so I need to not do shows.
Well, spell your name normally. Cohn,
yeah, I can remember what Kevin said in a hangout from like 6 episodes ago, but I can't spell Cohen.
Whereas I can't remember what I said yesterday. I don't know what happened. I'm alive. That's about all I know.
Right. Start this again.
I'm talking shit, therefore I am. That's a reworking of Descartes there.
Yeah. So now the purge, the Trump purges, and I think that's what we should just call them, because there's been a slow purge going on in the FBI.
Well, can I just time out before we move on?
Yeah, sorry. I've been on the roll. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's fine. No, let me just mansplain some shit for you. Yeah, come on. No, you seem to be rather more positive about this than I think I am, because I have to say, I watched Barack Obama's
echo chamber. Kevin, come on, get on board. We're supposed to be completely.
Sorry, yes, no, the feminist hug box. I'm going to have to break it up for a second. I don't know if you saw. Did you see Barack Obama's speech today?
I posted Barack Obama's speech today on Facebook.
Okay, well, I'll take that as a yes then. Yeah, I have to agree with him on a lot of what he said. Actually, these people don't deserve to be praised in any way. As he said, if they're going by and actively promoting the 90% of the harmful shit that he's doing, but stopping just 10%, like that doesn't earn a round of applause from me. That still means you're doing 90% of the evil shit. Fuck you. Still, fuck you. Regardless, I mean, they may have actually had some positive impact in some senses, like you say with the South Korea letter and all that sort of thing. The active resistance, but they're still promoting 90% of the evil shit. So fuck them. And whether you like
can I just say, sorry, but I didn't praise them.
No, absolutely. But you seem to be rather more positive.
I'm happy there. I'm fine. I'm fine that they're there, because I would rather have them there than a toady who wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I like them. I mean, absolutely. I did disparage them quite strongly at the start of my setup. I poisoned the well entirely.
Yes, you did. Well, a Marxist bastard, absolutely.
Hey, neo-Marxist. Neo-Marxist.
So postmodernist neo-Marxist.
Exactly. I was wearing that T-shirt today.
Awesome.
I have it. Actually, I still have it on. Yes, I'm wearing it now.
Which is so it's true. You were wearing it, and you are wearing it.
Yes,
both
exactly.
In the past and the present. So there we go. In the future. So yeah. Anyway. No. So I wasn't saying you were being not, but you seem to be rather more glossing over the incredibly negative, which is fine. I'm not even attacking it.
I was describing what was in the op-ed.
Well, indeed, yes, yeah.
Yes, I hadn't, yeah. And as far as that, like, that's okay. Okay, you finish.
Sorry, I just wanted to make a further point. Sorry to what I was saying. I agree with Obama as well that whether you like it or not, Donald Trump is the elected president, and now I don't see it as legit.
Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go, Kev?
And he is therefore, in some senses, accountable, whereas these people aren't. So who are they to decide which bits are too much and which bits aren't? Because these people don't have to take account for any of this. These people are entirely unaccountable to the American people, and yet they're being paid by the American people, and they're blocking some parts of it, which doesn't sit well with me as a person who supports democracy.
So let me ask you: do you think Deep Throat should have come forward right away instead of doing what he did and denying it at the time and only coming forward years later?
I don't know. Look, I'm not saying it's an easy or quick situation and that there's like a clean way out of this, but I can't sit here and be like, oh, well done on blocking 1 or 2 bits of evil shit while still being fine with, locking them in.
But Kevin, this isn't a question of morality. This is a question of politics, right?
No, it is. I'm sorry. No. You can't. For me, you can't separate morality and politics. Politics is the governing of people. So how you deal with that is entirely a matter of morality and ethics.
There are times when politics does involve moral questions. There are other times when it involves tactical questions and questions of process. And, the way that the minority operates to slow down legislation is, part of the process. Okay, that's not a good example. So let me back this up. I would rather have people slow walking than not. And if I would rather have them messing things up and stealing letters than not. And I'm a pragmatist on that. If you ask me, should these people come forward and resign on principle so they can be replaced by Trump? I'm going to say no. Keep them in there. Keep them doing what they're doing because it's better than nothing. It's better than a toady. And so I don't have to like them personally to think, yeah, fuck that shit up. That was sort of the whole purpose of the 1970s about, infiltrating the system and bringing it down from within, man. So I think I would rather have them stopping the 10%. If an aggregate number of people stop 10%, that 10% in different departments over different administrative departments in different agencies, it's going to total up to really having a long, big effects on otherwise terrible policies. That's my take.
Yeah, I think there's a certain point to that, but I think, and I don't want this to even sound like a criticism as such, but it's a horrible phrase. But I think you've got a much more Machiavellian approach to it than I have, in the sense that I just can't. It doesn't sit well with me, regardless. It just
I
doesn't.
think that's entirely fair because, I want to win. And when my enemy, not my enemies, usually they're political opponents. Now they're fascists, so they are enemies.
Yeah, exactly. This is not a matter of just someone with whom you disagree. This is a man
No.
who wants
Yeah,
to literally make a protest illegal, it seems.
right. And people in the past have resigned on principle because the administration is publicly doing one thing and privately doing another, or they're doing something they can't agree with. But this is a person who really does agree with Trump on a lot of stuff, but is willing to defy the president because, as someone pointed out, when these civil servants, when you get sworn in as a deputy undersecretary, administrative assistant to whatever, you take an oath to the Constitution, not to the president.
But this is the point, right? They mentioned literally in the article. I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember the exact phrase, but it's something like many of the ways Trump acts are a threat to the American Republic. Now that's, I think, absolutely true. But that means that you're working in the White House, actively promoting 90%. I mean, 90% might not be the exact figure, but let's just go with the Obama figure there. 90% of the program of a man you know to be a threat to the existence of the American Republic. That means you are a threat to the American Republic.
Okay, so my last closing statement on this is going to be, I kind of see this on a much with higher stakes, obviously, so I don't want to trivialize it. But this is because Republicans are red in the U.S. This is like red on red violence. This is Republicans fighting amongst themselves. And as far as I'm concerned, it's like watching the Bears play, the Vikings. Yeah, I'm just rooting for injuries when people, like not life threatening, just minor
Well,
ones.
exactly. I hope their quarterback just, breaks his ankle. Yeah.
in lightly,
Yeah, not career ending. Just get him out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Fine.
So if Republicans are willing to undermine other Republicans, I'm going to get, I can't do anything about it. So I'm just going to get some popcorn and hope more people do that stuff because that is in the end of the day, at the end of the day, it helps the Republic. So that's my last take on that.
Yeah, fair enough. Absolutely. I mean, I just, every time I hear about a story about Trump, I just think, America, what have you become? What have you become?
It's so strange to me because I'm literally feeling the same shift. The word I have to use, and I hate to use it because it sounds really academic-y, but it's the one word that doesn't it captures it greatly. Comportment. My comportment towards the United States is a lot like when the Supreme Court decided that gay marriage or marriage, same-sex marriage was legal, and my understanding of marriage changed. Like that had an impact on how, like, for me now it was legal, and that had a different status. I didn't say it wasn't valid before, but it now had a special status because it was law. And it changed how I viewed same-sex couples who are married. I mean, it really took away a lot of distinction in my mind. And I feel like my comportment toward democracy, like I am seeing more and more a fascist government, not a democracy. Because I see Trump, as we're going to talk about later, he just casually says, oh, maybe we shouldn't allow protests anymore. He's kidnapping children. He's calling on newspaper and the New York Times to hand their source over to the government for national security reasons. You know, he's taking up Rand Paul, that great libertarian suggestion of forcing people with security clearances to take lie detector tests. That happened in America. That happened in America. How can I call that a democracy? That is a country tipping toward fascism. My country a democracy anymore. And this is what I feel like in a negative way now. The same-sex marriage thing was awesome. It was so cool to notice those things. It's not fun.
Well,
And
exactly,
honestly,
yeah. And it was in the same week, all of this happened in the same week that he was praising.
what I feel like my country tipped toward fascism.
Sorry, yeah, this is all happened in the same week, of course, that he was praising Kim Jong Un and praying in
Yeah.
aid. The fact that Kim Jong Un, the dictator and mass murderer in North Korea, um, said that he had absolute faith in Donald Trump, and he tweeted that quote out as if that was a good thing. Now, as I've mentioned before, and I think it's worth reiterating, name me a dictator he didn't like, and name me a democratically elected leader that he did like.
Macron, when he took him to his military parade, but that
Well,
lasted a hot 5 minutes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. He'll pretend to be friends with democratic leaders when there's a photo opportunity, and then he'll, as with Justin Trudeau, he'll mercilessly rag on them instantly the second that he's away from them. Whereas with Kim Jong Un, he's besties with Kim Jong Un. He fucking loves a bit of Kim Jong Un, who keeps people in prison camps for their entire lives, kills them, brutalizes an entire country whilst enriching him and his friends.
And this might be a good time to bring up that story I mentioned before that Trump sort of just mused at a rally about maybe we should know, because he's talking about the protests at the Kavanaugh
Yeah,
hearing and saying, well, back in the day we used to throw them out. Now they just let them sit there and scream. Maybe we shouldn't allow protests anymore. Are you
yeah.
fucking kidding me?
He's a
You
fascist. Yes.
fucking kidding me?
He's a
And then
fascist who wants to
Paul
be.
Ryan,
He's got Putin dictatorship envy.
and then Paul Ryan goes in front of the press and is talking about how terrible this anonymous person is. Nothing else that's going on while he's fiddling while Washington is burning.
Yeah. Well, he will be. I think Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell and various of those people who've stood back and allowed this to happen will be seen much in the same way that what's his fucking name? The president before Lincoln, whose name I've totally forgotten, who basically, whilst the Civil War was setting itself up, just did nothing. Did absolutely nothing. And I think they will be viewed historically in the same manner, and should be.
Oh yeah, Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell are collaborators. They're basically helping Putin at this point by doing nothing to stop Trump
Well, it's
and
not just
his.
it's not just Putin. It's Kim Jong Un and
Mhm.
Bashar al-Assad and various other mass murderers. Yeah, and like I
Oh
say,
yeah, that was another example that Trump wanted to have Assad assassinated, and he's like, "Look into that." And he's like, "Okay, Mr. President." And then they walked down the meeting, and the guy turned to all the aides and said, "We are not doing
yeah,
that."
don't look into that. That's fine. Well, yeah, and I've said this before. Usually people say I don't like to say I told you so. I fucking love it. America, I told you so. I told you this was going to happen. Not the exactness of it, because even I couldn't have possibly foreseen the level of fuckery involved here. But I told you
Oh
he
no.
was an inept fucking clown who wanted to set himself up as a fascist dictator. I told you all of this. And in terms of his absolute lack of any knowledge, as like I said, with the assassinating Assad or whoever, um, when he was not president inviting, president elect. So the period between the election and him actually taking office, It had to be explained to him it was in like a military briefing meeting. It had to be explained to him 3 times. 3 fucking times he asked, and 3 times it had to be explained to him why America couldn't just nuke ISIS. This is not a man who should be in control of anything, including nuclear codes, and yet here we are.
Which is why you need the resistance.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the inside, the resistance against Trump inside the White House, not just the outside one.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, if it came to it, and I'm sure it will come out in the wash in the next 20, 30 years, whatever, that Donald Trump did want to launch nuclear strikes against someone for some reason, against Rosie O'Donnell, perhaps. I don't know. That someone had to essentially distract him, possibly with a set of car keys jangled in front of his face. I don't know. But yeah, he will have undoubtedly at some point gotten closer than any American president has since Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis. But not for any good reason, just because he's a fucking belligerent arsehole who knows nothing more than, what was it, fire and fury, the like of which we'd never seen before. That's diplomacy. That's diplomacy to this fucking creature.
Hopefully he'll be so busy being deposed by Michael Avenatti that he won't have time to worry about that. And other lawsuits that are being brought against him, investigations that are happening in various...
Well, I hope so, but after 2 years of hoping that the American system would get a hold of him and kicking the fuck out by now, the hope diminishes.
Impeachment was never going to happen with the Republicans in control of both houses.
Well, very possibly so, but I don't see that it's going to happen with the Democrats either. If they were
not if we
get control.
It would be difficult because there's the best. I mean, it'd be a fantastic thing if we could take back the Senate, but the best we'll have is one house.
Yeah, exactly.
They will be able to impeach him, but they wouldn't be able to convict him.
Well, they'd be, and also you need a supermajority in the Senate, don't you? So that
right.
wouldn't happen. They're not, even if they took it back, it would be by like 1 seat or something. So yeah.
If something comes out, and this is what happened with Nixon, is that the bottom started to fall out in terms of congressional support. But if his base started to fall away from him, then Republicans would have the courage to vote him out because they would just be craven. Like some purple Republicans, maybe like a guy in Wisconsin.
I don't see it as even remotely possible that could happen, just because his base don't believe anything. It's come out that he takes the piss out of people from the South, sees them as yokels. Now, regardless of what you think of that as an opinion, that should destroy his base. His base should say, no, we don't support you anymore, you piece of garbage, you elitist, New York, coastal fucking blah, 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 the usual
It might depend on which Republicans, though. I mean, it might not be in sort of the deepest red parts of it, but as the Democrats keep encroaching,
but that's well, yeah, exactly. Well, electorally, it's going to hurt him, but his base won't leave him. Never before has, every day it gets truer and truer. The thing he said about going down on Fifth Avenue and shooting someone, and he wouldn't lose that support. It's true. I mean, it's actually true. It's not even hyperbole. They don't believe that he can do any wrong. So whatever he does, it's like with God and the stories in the Bible with the religious fundamentalists. Because God does it, it's good. The fact that he's killing innocent children doesn't matter. It's fine. And the same is true with Donald Trump and his supporters. It doesn't matter what comes out; they'll just go, "No, it's fine." So I don't see that support will ebb away from him. But the thing is, what might change things if there is an actual blue wave, which my hopes, just because of the Trump thing being so shitty and the fact that the Russians are still meddling and nothing's being done about it, I'm not as hopeful as I should be. But if the blue wave does happen, I think that will galvanize Washington Republicans into at least distancing themselves, because they'll know it's electoral suicide not to.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they would. But the other thing too is, you get the Democrats in, they go through, they do whatever investigations they need to do. They vote for impeachment. He gets to the Senate. I mean, the whole process is going to take so long that he's going to be running for re-election while it's happening. At that point, it's like, do you keep going because you're going to impeach him? He's going to get reelected. So that would just be insane.
Yeah, it's not
You
going to
impeach a
happen.
guy and then he gets reelected would be crazy. I don't think that would happen. But it would. Could he take office if he'd been impeached in the previous? I don't even know how that would work. Would he just be disqualified?
I don't know. Well, he should have. He should be, but I don't know.
Well, the Republican primary system should have disqualified him, but they let themselves,
his lack of
feed
ability,
racists.
his lack of ability, knowledge, suitability for the job, intellect, manner of speaking, anything should have disqualified him, but it didn't. Anyway, what do we think?
Right, so we've got one more story.
Well, no, hang on. Before we move on from that, what do we think of the possibility that it's Mike Pence who is the op-ed writer?
I don't think he has the ability to make any decisions or has any power whatsoever. Because I think, was it Lyndon Johnson who said the vice president? No, somebody earlier. I think who said the vice presidency is worth a bucket of warm spit. The person actually describes doing things, and Mike Pence doesn't do anything.
Well, very possibly so. But who was it? Oh God, it might have been someone like Shula Colfax. He said of the American, he was vice president of America. He said there were two brothers. One went off to sea, and one became the vice president, and neither one was heard of again.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so it's a beating heart.
Although Dick Cheney tried to change that significantly, but it didn't.
Well, and that's because
it's just the person above him was so ridiculously stupid that he was able to control him. Was the difference?
Yeah, he was a puppet master in that case.
Whereas Mike Pence looks like a fucking 50-year-old action figure or something. Like he's just a doll. He's just a doll.
If you took Ken and took some white out,
exactly,
and covered his hair,
just grey,
and he's sexless. He's got no penis. It's perfect. It's anatomically correct.
Well, exactly.
He's around women who aren't his wife. It just crawls up inside of it.
Yeah, like a fucking tortoise into its shell. That's fair enough, because he clearly can't control himself around women who aren't his wife. Brilliant. I mean, what a series of fucking cocks America has in charge. It's ridiculous. Look, that even if he was impeached, you'd get Mike Pence as president. Fucking hell. What is that better?
Someone was looking for a poster boy of, men are inherently rapists. You can't trust them. It's Mike Pence putting himself on as a poster boy, saying, I can't have dinner or be in a room alone with a woman who's not my wife.
Well, exactly. He's one of the few, but I think that's probably why Donald Trump chose him, because he's one of the few people who makes Donald Trump look slightly less like a rapist. Just by standing near him, it's like, well, okay, both of them probably are, but you're not focusing so much on the fact that Donald Trump is definitely a rapist.
So with that, I don't know how to segue. You have a clever segue out of that into the last story about the Charlottesville jury?
Well, from the 2 Bob Whitehouse to the 1 Bob Fine.
Very well done, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, all right. I definitely hit the red when I coughed in the last one. The last story we have, and this is a happy story. And actually, you were talking about doing a GoFundMe for this, Kevin.
Well, I'm outraged. Tell the story, but I'm absolutely outraged.
Not to do a GoFundMe, but anyway, okay. So, a Charlottesville jury said that Jeffrey Winder, who punched Unite the Right organizer Jason Kessler, must pay a fine, and that fine would be in the amount of $1.
Well, I'm disgusted and outraged by this, and I suggest we start a GoFundMe to raise that money for him. This is an unconscionable imposition on this man. Although, frankly, if it's $1 a punch, I'm happy to fund 10 people to go and punch Jason Kessler. That's fine for me. I will happily put that $10 into the pot. If it's just $1 a punch, that would be the greatest fairground attraction ever. Punch a Nazi, $1.
Yes, and for the legal people out there, that Kevin, of course, is speaking in hyperbole. That Kristi and Kevin Happy Hour does not condone a call for violence in any way.
Absolutely, I don't.
Hyperbole.
I totally don't. Wink, wink. I don't think that would be a funny idea that I would literally watch over and over again, like I did with Richard Spencer. Honest, wink, wink.
So it's very nice of Kevin to offer to do a GoFundMe, but then not actually really do a GoFundMe. But yeah, but yes, it was wonderful to see the jury assess or provide a fine that was appropriate to what happened. So,
Oh,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, like I say, yeah, funny and fuck Jason Kessler.
Right. That was all the story. So much stuff, and we didn't even time the hearings for Kavanaugh or
Oh
Kamala
yeah,
Harris, and
where
she
did
was,
they where
as the
did
kids are saying, fire
indeed
Cory Booker.
it was 100 absolutely. Yeah, where did they dredge up Kavanaugh from? Like Trump, he only
Oh,
chooses the best people. No, Kavanaugh's like
I'll tell
ridiculous.
you,
Look, he has a
he came
legitimate
up.
chance to not get fucking put through. Look, that's
He's from the Cato Institute farm system.
oh god.
This is
Ugh.
like the decades-long plan of Republicans to every time they get into the White House, run on the idea that they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade, put on judges that are going to overturn Roe v. Wade so that they can put on people who will support deregulation and taking apart civil rights and doing other things that will keep people poor and wage slaves.
Yeah,
And
basically,
he's part of that.
that is a perfect summation of the last 50 years of Republican strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to gerrymandering, when it comes to like how they've operated in Congress, everything they're doing is to take over the courts and rig the system so that it's a one-party rule. They've laid the groundwork for Trump, as Obama very wisely said. This didn't start with Trump. He is merely doing an early crop of what they've been planning since the 70s and 80s,
Mm,
if not before,
absolutely. Yeah.
since the
Well,
civil rights movement.
Kavanaugh voted to uphold the voter ID laws in whatever fucking shithole state he's from. I don't fucking care. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's also going on. And they're actually like the Democrats. People go, "Oh, Democrats." The Democrats are the tactics being used by members of the committee are fantastic. The way that Cory Booker released things that were clearly not confidential information, and when the chairman said, the member could be liable to expulsion, and Cory was like, "Bring it. You
Yeah,
want to bring those charges? Bring it. The public needs to see this."
yeah,
And
I think both he and Harris have played this really rather well so far. I mean, it's whether it'll be ultimately effective, who knows?
well, as
Yeah.
Rachel Maddow pointed out on her show last night, what they need are 2 votes. So Kyle is now the new senator from Arizona replacing McCain. And so that they need to flip. They're targeting Murkowski in Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine. And for Susan Collins, and they're doing some other people too, but for Susan Collins, Wade and stuff on him talking about Roe v. Wade is not settled law. House is being brought up. Then there were some more things that were released that had to do with a decision he made about natives who are to Alaska, like natives of Alaska, not native citizens, but people who were there before Alaska was, turned into a state artificially and occupied by the white man.
First Nations people.
Right. That it some way disempowered them or took away their rights or something, and they broke out and they were publicizing that aspect of his decision to put pressure on Murkowski that way. And then, of course, there was also was it racial profiling or affirmative action? I can't remember which topic it was, but one member of the Senate, there's a black member of the Senate. If it was racial profiling,
Hang
that
on,
obviously is something.
whoa, time out. There's a
Yeah.
black member of the Senate. What?
Yeah, the guy who isn't he? I think he got appointed to fill a position. Is it Tim Scott? I
No,
gotta look.
Tim Scott's white. What?
No, okay, but there's no. There's. I think he's from like one of the Carolinas,
Hang on,
and
whoa. There's a black man in the Senate from the South. Jesus.
yeah, and he's a Republican.
Oh, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake! This is mental.
Sorry, I don't.
This is
I don't.
like.
There's like 100 of them, and I don't like. I don't
No,
know.
I'm joking. I was being sarcastic, suggesting that there wasn't a black man in the Senate. Never mind.
Doing basically these sort of they're releasing information and using it. They're not just releasing it, like they're using it then to go to the grassroots in the state to build up opposition to Kavanaugh for the senators or people that they think might be open to hear, concerned about his views. or at least concerned enough that their constituents are concerned about his views to take that on board and not want to piss them off.
Yeah. And it's, of course, enormously funny, but also very serious, of course, to see the Republican hypocrisy of, oh, well, why are the Democrats stalling? As if the fact that they've got a first Donald Trump pick onto the Supreme Court because they stalled and waited for the time to run out on Obama's term.
Exactly.
So fuck you guys.
Oh, yeah. And they want to do this before the November elections?
Yeah, you
Fuck
can suck a bag of dicks. Fuck off.
Yeah. And I think, I am all about going back to even before Newt Gingrich, a diverse Congress, but one that has decorum. And we've lost decorum. But until then, if we play with the rules.
Is that the senator from Mississippi, Dick Corum? Dick Corum. Yes. Come on, Dick Corum. That's a proper name. Anyway.
But until then, they don't play by the rules. And so if Cory Booker is going to engage in some civil disobedience, if members are going to sit down with protesters in the hallways, if they're going to sit on the steps and protest, if they're going to sit in the Congress, in the well of the Congress and protest, I'm all for that, because these are not normal times. And we need to do things that we need to do, in some ways, these kinds of spectacle things to draw people's attention to the problems, because Trump is a problem for up to 8 years unless he somehow subverts the Constitution and extends his reign. But Kavanaugh is a lifetime appointment. This is
and by judgment, a relatively young guy, so he could be around for 40 fucking years.
Yeah. So the Democrats are doing stuff, and this is an example. This is just the example that's sexy for the cameras to catch. I'm not saying they're perfect, but I'm saying that just generally as a party, I think they get shit on a lot, and and the people who are the Democrats who are good don't get name called enough. If you want to name call shitty people, then name call great people too, because you can't just, it's just frustrating when you see people working. Like Nancy Pelosi's done so much for America, like with healthcare and seeing stuff through and getting it done, delivering. And to just see people like shit on her as if, she's evil, she needs to go. I'm like, it's not as easy as that. And you make it easier for people who are undecided to say the two parties are the same. I'm not saying being sycophantic, but I say it's 10-1 bitching to praise,
Yeah. Okay. I've had my criticisms, and I think fairly right criticisms, but yeah, I agree. They probably get shot on quite hard. Although one of my favourite jokes ever, which was actually answered on a Just Had to Ask by Steve Jobs. I said, who would win in a fight, today's Democrats or FDR? And I don't mean FDR now. I mean FDR. Sorry, I don't mean FDR when he was alive. I mean now, the fetid bones of FDR.
Yeah, well, FDR also tried to stack the Supreme Court, so
Yeah, look, I'm not saying for a second that he was perfect. I was just doing a joke to say they were a bit spineless, which at times they have been. There's no doubt. I mean, under Bush, arguably, they were even more spineless, I think.
Yeah, well, there's a whole rally around the flag that we know people go mad about, and politicians are often gutless in the face of standing up to the military.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was everything I had. I think I suggested almost, except for skirting Bill, I think I came up with most of the topics, and also people in the group chat. True, so also, by the way, thanks to them.
Yeah, true, but there's no sense in which we weren't going to talk about Alex Jones. So that was like that's a scratch. But that would have come up regardless. Yeah. But yeah, you came up with a lot of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But also, we're going to have to come to terms, and this is possibly an off-air conversation, but fuck it, I'm going to raise it now anyway. Yeah, I've got a strike on my channel still. So, are we going to be back on the regular? Kristi Winters for a bit,
of course. I just assumed. I mean, it went unsaid for me. Like, okay, I'm hosting.
Well, if I can host on like a backup channel if you want, like you don't have to do it.
Well, we can. Why doesn't someone do a poll in the group chat if they want to just stick to my channel, or if they want to visit your? The problem with I have to say, I visited. No. I've been to backup Kevin Land. Can I tell you the customer service issues need to be addressed? Okay, you took off slow mode. Thank you very much. That was helpful. But it is under modded at the moment. I think you wrenched me, which I appreciate. But Yeah, so we got to like work on some like
Well,
kinks in
that's
your.
yeah. That involves me doing stuff, and
That's
I
yeah.
can't
So
be
it's just easier if we do it
bothered.
here. Like my place is like a comfortable couch, and your place is like a new place that you just moved into, and you still have like folding chairs. So why don't we just hang out on my couch?
That sounds hot. Yeah.
I'll put on EastEnders. Da, da,
Oh,
da,
and
da,
there goes the hot water on the floor.
da. And on that bombshell, see,
Hey.
gosh, we're
Yes.
actually getting mildly occasionally good at this. Like when you
Yeah.
get a
It
lucky
almost
three
sounds.
pointer.
It almost sounds professional at times,
Yeah. Yeah, we
which
gotta
is
sort that shit out because otherwise
otherwise what? Nothing changed. The
we're,
world will still continue to turn. It'll be
we're gonna
fine.
lose our edge, man. Sell out and just
I can't lose. I can't lose my
package
edge because I'm
pre-written.
all. There we go.
Monobrow doesn't quit.
Exactly. Even when I die, I'll so edgy. I'll be able to carve my way out of the coffin. Boom.
Ooh, that was pretty good. All right.
Thank you.
I think this is the bit where I say goodbye, right?
I don't fucking care.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
I've checked out 10 minutes ago. No, I'm gonna joke.
all right.
Yeah, this is the bit where you say
Before we,
goodbye.
is there anyone that you want to say fuck you to in the chat?
Everyone, obviously, but especially to Tom. Fuck you, Tom.
Yeah. We can't have a show where you don't give a special fuck you to Tom.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for me. So, for those of you in the chat, I won't see you now. I will see what you've written later, though. So, I'll go check that out. If you want to know when the shows go live, or if you want to join in with more of the craziness or nerdiness, or sometimes both, that is the Kristi and Kevin Happy Hour. You can always join our Facebook group, which you can find on Facebook by typing in Kristi and Kevin's Happy Hour and the happy endings. You too can be a happy ending, or we'll
Exactly.
give you a happy ending.
Yeah, I will wank you off. Yes.
We'll have to come up with some like slogans for the group. Anyway, so I have been
Well, I already did
really
the. I
filmed.
already did the. They're an up and coming group.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We need to put that little tagline under the drinks picture. We need to make some new art. Okay, so I was doing my thing. Hold on. I've been Kristi. I've been sick. Kevin has been technically challenged, but hopefully we'll work that out in the future. Do you
Well,
want
I
to
am challenged in many, many ways. Yes.
go check out his channel? We didn't even get to the Laura Loomer stuff, so go check out his video on that.
Yeah, that was amazing. I can't believe oh, Jesus Christ. All I'll say is, imagine, imagine a cattle auction mixed with the U.S. Senate, and that actually happened.
Yeah, yes. I was thinking, I thought you were still talking about her. Went, that was kind of harsh. And went, oh
Oh
no, then I
no,
remember what happened.
yeah, no, I don't do that level of. I mean, that would be a really misogynist thing. And Laura Loomer, basically a fucking cow. You know, no,
I'm a
no, I
little
wasn't.
slow tonight.
No. Yeah, actually, I should explain now, just in case people think I was being a misogynist. No,
No.
one of the people in the Senate was used to be a fucking cattle auction guy, like the 75, all that, bro, the full bit. And so when Laura Loomer stood up and started shouting, he just started doing that to drown her out. And I just thought,
And I think
this is the US Senate, or the like a committee of the US
Cubs.
Senate. This is madness. What the fuck? What world am I in now? Because
Yeah, and the
when I
thing is that
first saw the clip, it was by this guy called Vic Berger, right, who does like mashups of like far right shit. So I thought he'd put that voiceover on the thing because I stopped watching before it cuts to him and you can see him wording it and it's actually him in the room. I thought someone had put that on top of it as like a joke to drown her out, but it actually happened in real
no, it
life.
really happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I I just thought this is clown world. What?
And he's a Republican, I'm pretty sure. So he would
He
have
is,
she
yes.
was agreeing with him. Like he didn't know that. But I've
Well,
never heard
truthfully,
like an audio troll better. Like that was amazing,
it was,
like a tweet troll coming but
and he
in
had
real life. Like
amazing timing because right at the end it goes 75, 75, 75, and I seed back. Literally, it was such brilliantly timed. It was yeah, it was very fun.
oh,
But he's probably a
so
twat because he's a Republican congressman or senator or whatever the fuck he is. I don't care.
all right. So you know how well go people. So if you're waiting for a bus to come, when you're at the end of the after party and you're waiting for the bus to come, and you think your bus is just pulling up, and so you hug your friend and go, "Okay, goodbye." And then you realize that's actually not your bus. You've got another 3 minutes. That's what we just did. So I'm going to go back to the closing now and say the chat, I assume, is awesome because you guys are always awesome.
Yes, the chat is always shit.
People in the future. Oh, what do you think of them, Kevin? Are they okay?
The
People watching
who've
in the
taken
future.
over and are now the fascist autocrats, please don't kill me. But other
Yeah,
than that,
in 2023, this is going to put us in prison.
absolutely. Oh God, yeah. But I've always thought, the only good thing about me being put in a concentration camp is I do need to lose a bit of weight. So,
oh, Kevin. Oh, okay. That's your one. That's it. I'm cutting you off.
Look for the silver lining is all I'll say.
That's it. Cutting you off. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Do the bit.